Following their huge victory over the Kansas City Chiefs and improving their record to 9-2, the Denver Broncos have a legit shot at the number one seed in the AFC. Right now, it's between three teams: Indianapolis, Denver, and New England. If the season ended today, the Denver Broncos would be the number one seed, but the Indianapolis Colts were on a bye this week. Indianapolis holds a head-to-head tiebreaker over the Denver Broncos. Denver's going to have to take care of their business moving forward. There's no doubt about that. But winning out on its own is not going to be enough for the Denver Broncos to get the number one seed. They're going to need some help. I want to go ahead and bring in the ESPN Playoff Simulator. What I did is plugged in wins for the remainder of the games for Indianapolis, Denver, and New England. If all three of these teams won out, Indianapolis would have the number one seed by virtue of that head-to-head tiebreaker. Denver would be the number two seed, and then New England would be the number three seed. I don't think it's likely that all three of these teams win out. I do see potential losses on all three of these teams' schedules. Let's go into Week 12, which is obviously Denver's bye week. Indianapolis goes on the road to face the Kansas City Chiefs. Even though Kansas City hasn't been playing well, they always play a lot better at home. And realistically, do you think the NFL is going to let the Kansas City Chiefs drop below 500? I don't think so. So I honestly could see the Kansas City Chiefs coming away with this game. Let's go ahead and switch that. If that were to happen, Denver would get that number one seed. You've got the New England Patriots. They play against the Cincinnati Bengals. I imagine that's going to be a win for New England. Coming in here to Week 13, you've got Denver going on the road to Washington. They should take care of business and win that game. The Patriots at home against the Giants. That should be a Pats win. And then the Indianapolis Colts host the Houston Texans. That should also be a win for Indy. So I don't see much changing here in the standings on this given week. Week 14, New England has their bye week in Week 14. Indianapolis, they face off against the Jags. It really depends on which Jags team shows up, but Indianapolis has been playing a lot more consistent football. I'm going to give Indianapolis the dub there, but it is worth noting Indianapolis has not won in Jacksonville since 2014. It is an annual curse that the Indianapolis Colts have dealt with. Will they break it this year? As of right now, I'm going to say yes, but if that Jacksonville curse strikes for Indianapolis, that might not be good news for them, and that would be good news for the Denver Broncos. At the Raiders, even though Denver didn't play well against the Raiders last time, it was on a short week. This time they're going to have a full week of preparation, so I am going to pick the Denver Broncos to win this game and sweep the Raiders. Coming in here Week 15 when all the bye weeks are done across the NFL, the Patriots do face off against the Buffalo Bills. This is one of those ones where I could see a loss for New England here. I don't necessarily see them sweeping the Bills. Buffalo knows what's at stake, and in a game with all the marbles on the line, I kind of trust the Buffalo Bills over the New England Patriots. Could be wrong there, but I am actually going to give the Buffalo Bills the win in this game. Indianapolis, they go on the road to face off against the Seattle Seahawks. Obviously, Seattle's been playing some really incredible football, just like Indianapolis. The game's in Seattle, though. I am going to give the Seattle Seahawks the advantage at home with the 12th man. Denver facing off against Green Bay is very interesting. It all depends which Green Bay team shows up, and quite frankly, which Broncos team shows up as well. I could see this going either way. I'm giving the Denver Broncos the slight advantage here because they've been the more consistent football team of the two, but still, I could see this one going either way. I am going to give it to Denver as of right now. Coming in here to Week 16, Denver faces off against Jacksonville. It's kind of the same thing. Which Jacksonville team is going to show up? Since the game's at home, I do trust the Denver Broncos to get the job done. I do see potential losses here for both New England and Indianapolis. New England has to go on the road to face Baltimore. Even though Baltimore's been down this year, they're starting to get back up to speed. They're starting to look like the Ravens of old with Lamar Jackson back in the fold. The game being in Baltimore, I might give the Ravens the advantage there, especially considering they're fighting for their playoff lives right now. Then Indianapolis hosts the San Francisco 49ers. San Francisco is starting to play really good football once again now that Brock Purdy's back. They destroyed the Arizona Cardinals. They've been up and down a little bit at points this year, but they were without Brock Purdy most of the year. They had Mac Jones starting for them. I think the San Francisco 49ers could get the job done there, and that would knock Indianapolis down to the 3 seed and New England up to the 4 seed, or up to the 2 seed rather, at 13-4. Denver, they would be the number 1 seed, and we come in here. Let's say Denver takes care of business against Kansas City. That would put them in an excellent position. I've got Indianapolis beating Jacksonville at home, and then the Patriots taking care of the Jets as they always do. If Denver beats Kansas City, then they could rest their starters in Week 18 very easily. Let's just say for a second here that Kansas City wins this game, Denver rests their starters, and then the Chargers lose. They're still in pretty good shape here. They would still have that number 1 seed. So, yeah, man, if Denver goes on and wins throughout this Jacksonville game and Indianapolis and New England suffer a couple of losses, Denver could have this number 1 seed essentially locked up by the time we get here to this Kansas City game. And these last 2 games might not matter for Denver. They probably wouldn't rest their starters completely in this Kansas City game. You don't want to rest your starters for 2 full weeks and then go on the first round bye. You have that element of maybe being on ice for too long. I could see them playing the starters in Kansas City for maybe a half, resting them in Week 18, resting them for the bye, and then have them go into the playoff game with the number 1 seed at home. Everything's right in front of Denver right now. They're going to need some help from other teams, but if Denver takes care of their business and Indianapolis and New England suffer a couple of losses, there's no reason why the Denver Broncos can't be the number 1 seed in the AFC. It's very possible, and if Denver is able to do what they need to do, I think they are in really good shape. All right, Broncos country, let me know. Do you think the Denver Broncos are going to get the job done? And do you think New England and Indianapolis are maybe going to suffer a couple of losses here and there and make life easier for Denver? Or do you think Denver's going to suffer a couple of losses along the way, maybe to Green Bay and Kansas City, and they might not be able to clinch the number 1 seed? Drop those comments down below, guys. I would love to hear your thoughts, as always. Be sure to leave a like on this video, as well as subscribe and ring the bell so these videos appear in your notification feed. I would really appreciate it, guys. Those are both free and easy ways to show your support. It helps tell YouTube's algorithm to push us out, and it helps us get seen by more and more members of Broncos country, just like you and me. Additionally, if you guys want to go above and beyond in supporting the channel, please consider becoming a channel member today. The link is in the description below if you want some extra perks and incentives in exchange for helping me out, helping the channel grow, and helping support the production quality of this content. All right, guys, and until next time, I'm your host, Gage Madrid, saying peace out.